Welcome to my Hebrew program, Hebrew channel, Mila Hebrew honey. Davash is honey in Hebrew language. And I'm looking at Psalm 23, one of my favorite Psalms. And I'm taking this opportunity to look at the connections. We're looking at phonetic connections and grammar connections and structural things, all kinds of things happening within the psalm. I started with one or two connections and I start running through it again time after time after time and realized there were a whole lot of the psalm was held together with a lot of internal connections. And at first I started by putting lines and rows from one thing to the next and seeing how it would all hold together. It got to be very messy, very complex. So I've divided it up into the different elements I'm looking at, whether it's a name, whether it's a concept, whether it's a grammar thing, or whatever it is. And then just I put the number up on the top there as to how many times each thing happens within the passage. So Psalm 23, beautiful passage, and a lot of its beauty rests in how much focus it has, and that focus derives from how it is written. So we're going to take a look at how it's written. We're going to look at the accenting. Generally speaking, the people who read the Blue Letter Bible, BART, or the BART phonetics of the BART soundtrack, BART Bible, do a very good job. But they aren't stopping and telling you why or how. They just simply do it. And then if you can see it, fine. But I'll also give myself a chance to give you a chance to see just how accenting. I'm very much a disciple of a very simplified accenting system. It either goes milel upwards or milra downwards. Most of the accenting you see on Hebrew words is milra towards the bottom, towards the end. But some go up milel, and especially what I call the segolates. In other words, a segol, it's a vowel, an E vowel, and the medium E vowel. And most of the time when it stands together, either as a double segolate or just a single segolate, still a segolate, it's going to carry the milel accenting. We're going to look for that. So let's get on with the study. One of the more obvious connections here is the divine name, Yehovah, Yehovah. See it twice, okay? See it right at the start. It opens. It isn't quite a complete, absolute inclusio. In other words, it would be inclusio, it would start with it and end with it, but it's a third to the end here. It's in the first verse, it's in the last verse, okay? Yehovah Roi and Yehovah Leroch Yamim, okay? Bebeit Yehovah Leroch Yamim. There's a Revi on the end here, and at the end of the reading, I'm going to be looking at one of the Codex readings, and the Revia does look a whole lot like a holum there, so I'm happy with saying Yehovah. Our transliteration, or the guys who do the printing and stuff, have pushed this one up to Revia. Look at it in the handwritten version. Looks a whole lot like a holum. So I'll have an argument from my Jewish friend. They're going to tell me, no, that's a Revia. No, I'm going to tell them, hey, that looks a whole lot like a holum. Well, here we go. Yehovah Roi. Now we have 4 first-person verbs, and the first 3, Etzar and Elech and Ira, are prefixed first persons. In other words, I do not drain away. I walk. I do not fear. And then the last one, Shavti, I dwell, I live, or I rest. And this one's a suffixed first person. So you got 3 prefixed first persons and 1 suffix. These are actions that the psalmist is doing. I'm not flowing away. I am walking, even though I walk in the shadow of death, and I don't fear, and I rest, or I stay, or I live in the house of the Lord forever, or for many long days. So it's 4 of them. 2, Deshe, that's Dalet Shin, Dalet Shin. I put this little marker into green because it starts out as green, Deshet, but not Deshet. This is in pastures green. And then here, Deshanta, you anoint, you put abundance. And so the deshet here isn't so much in relationship to the greenness of the pasture, but the abundance of the pasture. It's a bright, overgrown green. Okay, it's really a very productive, very abundant green. Okay, so the emphasis then is on the abundance of what's there in the pasture. But not deshet, and then take that sense of abundance and take it over here to the next time you see it. Deshanta, you abundant, you make lots, you pour lots of oil on my head. Okay, so there's lots of oil on my head. So the whole sense of abundance comes through from the deshe. Deshe, here it's dalet shin aleph, and there's this one here. This looks a lot like adjective here, and this one's of course a verb. So, but they're both based on the root of dalet shin. There's only two of them here in our passage. We have 5 verbs which are begin with third person prefix forms of verbs and end in a ni, to me. Okay, he does this to me, he does that to me, he does this to me, and we have 5 of them. The first 3 are in singular. Yarbisheni, he stretches me out. Yehalaneni, he guides me. Okay, and then Yaheni, which is almost the same thing, he guides me or leads me. Just miss it. This one's a chet, and this one's a hey lamet. But he leads me, and then ye nach muni. Now, if you wouldn't have the kibbutz here, it look like a singular, but it is a plural. Okay? And it's plural with good reason, because Shivatecha and Mishnatecha are 2 things right there, and they comfort me. Okay, so they comfort me. So it's a third person prefix, and then you'll see the plural from the kibbutz, and then ni again, to me. And then the last one on the list here is yerdifuni. So this is also a third person. We get to see the plural from the surik that's right over at the end of the root here. Yerdifuni, and they follow me, they chase me, and that is surely goodness and mercy. They. So it's a plural because it's 2 things that are coming after me or following me. Yerdifuni. So there's this ni, the singular suffixed form is very, very common. We'll get to a lot more of those. Here's just the ones that where the verb is third person, and then the result, or the person who receives the action, is first person. In other words, this is it's in a dative. If you think of towards me, towards me, towards me, okay? Towards me. It's a dative sense of the pronoun there. There are 11 cases of the resh showing up. This is just simply the sound. Mishmor, even in the title, you got a resh. Then you have roi, then you have yerbisheni, then you have ira, then you have ra, and then you have taroch, you have shorai, you have roshi, you have rivia, you have yerdifuni, and you have leoroch. And so there's the R sound goes right through. When you're hearing this psalm in the Hebrew, it's going to have a lot of R to it. It's got a lot of rumble to it. That's just simply the sound. Although, some of these, like the double resh here, it has a sense of evil or rumbling. This is also evil and rumbling. But some of the reshes do communicate troubles and trials. We're rumbling along, sort of thing. But other ones just simply just the R sound. So I'm not going to make a big deal of that, but the resh is a very prominent sound. The R, very prominent sound throughout our psalm. 3, and there are 3 base roots based on nun chet. Okay, min nu hot. Okay, min nu hot. That is waters of restfulness. It's what I call a Noah root, a rest root. Noah, who built the ark, he's built the ark because God wanted rest on the earth. He had seen the earth so disturbed and so messed up that he plan on sending a flood, but to rescue his people, comfort his people, he sent Noach, Mr. Rest. And so we have rest here. Minuhot, this is in the waters of restfulness. And we have Yed Nachaleni, this is comforting. My soul has been restored, comforting me in ways of righteousness, in roads or paths of righteousness. So Yechaleni, again, a nunchet. And then the last nunchet here is what the rod and the staff do. They Nachamuni. They give me rest. They comfort me also. So the waters comfort, the paths of righteousness comfort, and the rod and the staff, they also comfort me. So comfort is a very key sense of this particular psalm. 2, Shevatecha Mishantecha, rod and staff. I've included these because when I saw them right there, you kind of have to visualize the two columns in front of the temple. Okay? So sort of prominent right in the middle of the psalm. These things are the pillars that hold it all up in the middle. First one is, of course, a tet, okay, Shivantecha, and the next one's Mishantecha. Generally, you're going to have to say, oh, these are very different consonants that really are the central consonant of each. Incidentally, both of these are capable of standing on their own as a root. Now, in this case, they aren't. They're very much part of a combined root of 3. This one's shivacht. This one's a little bit more, in fact. But each one paleographically is related to the mark, to the mark that is the little crosshatch. I should have put that in one corner here. And so they have that relationship between them, even though one uses a tet and the other one uses a tau. So Shivatecha and Mishantecha. This rod, by the way, is one for punishing, hurting somebody. This one rod is for healing somebody. So a little difference in how these are used. And I had another video speaking about how they are used. 2, we have 2 independent pronouns. Okay, kiata, because you, okay, imadi, you are with me, and hema, and they. Okay, this is the plural of these 2 things here. Shivatecha, Mishantecha, hema, yet nachalmuni, they. So there's 2 pronouns. They appear in the middle. You notice it's right smack in the middle of the psalm, because they signal what I call a 90-degree turn in how the thing is focused. Here you have Jehovah doing things with me. He does this, he does this, he does that. And then David turns his face towards Jehovah and goes, you. And so it's this kind of scene shift of looking where you're looking at. At this point, David looks towards directly to the Lord and begins talking to the Lord. Many psalms do this. Sometimes the whole psalm goes that way. But in this case, you got the first one where he is doing this for me, and he's doing that for me, and he's doing that for me. And then smack in the middle, he goes, oh, but you. Okay? And you can almost see David pointing his finger towards God at that point. 2 examples of water. Okay? No, two examples of, yeah. It's easy enough to mix yourself up here. I almost connected this one, me, minuhot, with kol yameh and yamim. These are days. These are plural forms of days. Yom. I don't think yom is not in here by itself, but it's in here as a plural. Okay, all the days. Kol yameh. Hi. This is the construct form. Okay, and then compare it to the absolute form, which is how the psalm ends. Yamim. Okay. 2 long days. So you have all the days of my life, and le'orach, yamim. There are many days, many long days. And there are also Yeresheni, and then Taroch, and then Le'oroch. I call these, they're all fresh, and so of course they come out of the Resh package and the R package. And I call these my stretching, verbs. Although this one's not a verb, it's for long days. my stretching words. Let's just call it stretching words. Yerba sheni. Yerav is lengthen out or stretch out on green pastures. Okay, yerba sheni. So you have I'm stretched out. Taroch lifnei, and then you stretch out. You set up a table, but you stretch it out. You arrange it. Taroch lifnei shulhan neged sorai. So you put out a table, stretch it out. You lay it all out in place in front of my enemies. Okay, my people who harass me. I like the English word translation harass because it's got double R. The Hebrew also has a shorai, has a double R. And leroch, and this is for long days, for stretched out days. Okay, so you stretch me out in green pastures. You stretch out a table in front of my enemies, and you stretch me out for stretched out days. I will be living in the house of the Lord for stretched out days. The stretching words. 2, what I'd call intensive particles or exclamatory particles. I'll let you in a little secret among grammarians. If you got a word you really don't know what to call, just call it a particle. So there we have 2 of them, gam and ach. And it's kind of like, oh, look, boom, just hey, quick, stop. Let's take a good look at this. Gam. And then that's in English, it's yay or hey or whatever. Gam ki, and then you hear ach tov, certainly. Okay, so it's kind of like exclamation points or exclamation marks. I don't know translations whether they put exclamation marks with these, but they certainly have that role of hey, look at this, hey, look at that. Gam and ach. Okay. These are close. This one's close related to the only 2 times you see relative pronouns, and that's this one, gam ki, even though, and then because. Okay, these are the relative pronouns. Relative pronouns introduce what we call subordinate clauses. Even though I walk, and because you are with me, ki ta'imadi shivatecha u'mishantecha. This means that this one introduces these clauses because this one here tells you what's happening, and this one's here giving you the result of why I can walk through the valley of shadow. I can walk through the valley of shadow of death. Why? Because you are with me. 7. Okay. Segulates, yeah. Take a good look at the vowels of these words, okay? Deshet, that's the green pastures, okay? Deshet. Tzedek, that's the righteous paths, ways. Mavet, okay? And incidentally, this one, these are what I call a double segulate. In other words, they have a segulate in the last and second to last, second to last syllable, and so they're what I call a full segulate. The other ones here, mavet, and there's another one here, and I had to include orech. They only have the segulate in the last syllable, but it's still a segulate. Okay. Now, one of the interesting characteristics of segulates, and when I started seeing all the segulates here, in other words, the double segults, is that they carry a mil el accenting. In other words, the accenting goes to the front, goes forward. Okay, and we have it in all of them. It's kind of interesting. I thought, I wonder if there's any exceptions here. No, deshet, there's the accent. Tzedek, there's the accent. Revi around down there, and mavet, you gotta. I think that's a pasar or full pasar. And then we got neged, you got an accent to the front right here, neged. You have shem, the same accent as that one, shemen. And chesed, you have an munah at the bottom of this second to last syllable here, munah. So that's also a milel. And the very last one, orech, and that also has the same munah accenting as that one does. So all of them have milel accenting. It all points nicely. It all holds together very, nicely, the seglates, and then their accenting that they work with usually. You'll see this one is not a seglate. Why? Because it is accented here at the, well, although it is one up from the back. Okay, and okay, 14. Wow. One thing that's very evident in reading the psalm is that the first person possessive or dative. In other words, I have it or it's coming to me. Okay, so I either have it. So and that's just simply the hirik yod. Okay, the hirik yod. And there's a whole bunch of them, 14 of them all the way through. I started counting these and I go, wow, they're all over the place. It does indicate in part what happens within the psalm. The Lord does great things for me, and I'm receiving good things, and good things happen to me all the time, and so forth. And so here it is, Roi, he is my shepherd. He's shepherding me, Roi. Okay, Yerasheni, he is stretching me out. Yehaleni, he is showing me how to walk beside still waters. Okay, he's leading me beside still waters. Yehaleni. Nafshi, my soul. Okay, Nafshi, my soul. Yenachalini, same thing. Incidentally, we saw 4 of these already in the prefix and suffix situation. We'll see them again here, of course. Yechaleni, Necheni, Yanheni. This one's he leads to me again. Hirik yod at the end. Then man shemo gam lech. Then imadi, you are with me. Okay, with me. Here you are. Yenachamoni, you are comforting me. You are guiding me to me. Okay, you guide to me. And then lifnei, before my face, before me. Shorai, this is my. This isn't very positive here. These happen to be my enemies, and I guess of all the ones, this one is not very positive thing to have enemies. But we have enemies, and then but what happens? The Lord sets a table before those enemies, my enemies. Roshi, my head. Okay, it's getting all covered with oil. Koshi, my cup. It's flowing over my cup. And then Yerdafuni, they chase me, they follow me. Yerdafuni, they chase me. Hai, of my life, and Shivati, and I live. Shti. Hirikyod, this is not a pronoun ending, this is a verbal ending of the first person verb right here, but it's still something I'm doing, okay? Shavti, okay? So the Hirikyod, very much in with the package of Hirik yods you see all over the place. So, Shafti, I dwell, I live, I rest in the house of the Lord forever, for long days. So, yeah, of all the ones, constructions we've seen, this one takes the prize, and it indicates really how the whole psalm functions. The Lord is my shepherd. He brings a lot of things towards me. I'm going to even include the enemies here. Okay, he sets me enemies, but he's putting a nice table in front of them. So it's things that I'm receiving from the Lord, or things that I have because the Lord has been good to me, and so it's either a dative or a possessive, one or the other, genitive or possessive, and so or dative towards me, and that's a tremendous sense of how this psalm is focused. So it makes it very personable. Yeah, I try to avoid the word egocentric, but it is a little bit egocentric. Okay, in other words, it's a lot of things coming towards me. Okay, egocentric and a good thing in that the Lord is sending those things to me. Okay, and I'm so happy that the Lord has been blessing me in so many good ways. And now we get to the reading of the codex, and I've had to put my readers back on to be able to spot the vowel pointings. There's some curveballs in here. This one caught me here. Dishanti, there's a spot right here, and if you look it up in the printed text, it comes through as a dagesh. The original scribe here made double use of this dot right here. It's used as a hedic, and it's also used as a dagger. So you can look all over here. I don't think it wore off, but just one time you see a little dot here. So it's a dishanta. Also, I'd like to point out that in this case right here, what our printed text will put down as a revia looks a whole lot like a holum. In fact, if you compare this one to Shemo, you got a holum there, basically the same thing. So to me, I have no problems reading that as a holum for Yehovah. Okay, and when you see it, oh wow, it's pretty good. Mostly in this case here, you don't see it; it isn't there, and that's usually the case. But sometimes you'll see it, and then yeah, it's sort of a confirmation that that there's a O sound to it. Now there is a yod with a dot on the top, just simply a spacer, and might have tried to start a lamed, but the le'roch yamim goes on to the next line. Couldn't fit a le'roch on this end yet. In writing something, you're always conscious of space. Incidentally, sof pasuks are kind of hard to spot. Does have them. This one here, that's the siluk sof pasuk, and yeah, and let's see, siluk sof pasuk, and keep going, siluk sof pasuk. So siluk sof pasuk are pretty clear. I don't think there's one at the end here. Just there's certainly a sof pasuk. So let's get on with the reading. Mishmor le David, Yehovah roi lo etzar, benot deshe yirbisheni, al me menuhot yenachaleni, nafshi yeshovev, yanheini b'ma'ale me'agale sedek leman shemo, gam ki elech bege shalmavet lo ira ra ki ata imadi shivtecha u mishantecha hema yenachamuni taroch lifnai shulchan neged shorai dishanta beshemen roshi kosi yirvaya akto vechesed yirdafuni kol yame hai ve'ashavti be'beit Yehovah le'aroch yamim. And that's for the reading. It's really a very beautiful psalm. As I said, the Hirik Yod, Hirik Yod, Hirik Yod, Hirik Yod appears throughout. I think it's 14 times it's mentioned in the study. The Lord is really good to me. I was even looking at Shorai. At first in the study, I go, wow, what about those enemies? Yeah, the Lord does send us enemies to face, and we face them with a table between us, and the Lord has set that table there in front of us so that we can even dine with our enemies. And it is certainly a blessing to be able to recognize that we are part of the Lord's flock, and the Lord is good to us, and the Lord cares for us, even in those times that we have to stare face to face with some kind of enemy, be it political, be it whatever. And the Lord gives us grace to also share the love of Christ, even with those we don't agree with. So God bless and God strengthen you in this day. Until the next time.